I'm pretty sure this family is obsessed with potatoes. Good morning. This is Bill Hampshire with the GGATA, Great Gardens of America Touring Association. Today, we're going to be looking at a garden here at Humble Haven Farm. I'll be interviewing Timothy, and we will be talking about his garden. Timothy! Is that right? Timothy?
No, Thomas.
Oh, Thomas. Nice to meet you. Bill Hampshire.
Bill Hampshire.
Yeah. So what you got here? What's in this row?
Beans. We planted 2 weeks after these beans here, so we have a little bit of a spaced out difference. As soon as these beans, we planted them by seed, and as soon as they came out of the ground, poking up a good bit, we put grass around them to keep the weeds down.
What's the reason for the two different times?
Extends our harvest season, so we'll be harvesting these ones 2 weeks. Start harvesting these ones 2 weeks before these ones, and then harvesting these 2 weeks later.
What's these plants over here that are nice and tall?
These are our potatoes, or some of our potatoes. We ran out of room to put potatoes over when we normally do, so we had these 2 extra rows here, so we went ahead and put potatoes here. We did a double row, so it's 1 row, but we put potatoes next to each other and kind of did a little bit of an experiment here.
I don't see anything growing on them. Is it all just down in there?
All the potatoes are growing down in the earth, all the roots. That is where you'll get all your potatoes, so we'll dig them up in the fall when all the tops die.
Now what is this over here, these heart-shaped flowers?
These are sweet potatoes. We planted them as little plants. They're like big vines. They'll grow out all over here on the ground.
Are we having mic difficulties? Do we need to switch out mics?
Yeah, there's
Hello? Hello? Sorry to say, folks, but we are having mic difficulties. We'll be back momentarily. Welcome back. When you left us, we were talking about the sweet potatoes. Now, Thomas, I see they're not nearly as big as the potatoes. Are you concerned about that?
No, we don't have any concerns. This is the size sweet potatoes are supposed to be. They don't get tall like potatoes. They grow out like vines, like a cucumber plant or a squash.
All right, we have limited time, so let's keep moving on. What's in here, these trellises?
These are our tomatoes, not to be confused with potatoes.
And what's this right there? That's obviously not a tomato.
That is a parsley.
Excuse me, let's adjust like that. There you go, now continue talking. You can't get in front of me in the camera.
That is a parsley plant planted in with the tomatoes to, they benefit each other if they're planted close.
Like a symbiotic relationship, huh?
Yeah, something like that.
All right, let's move on over here. Is this more tomatoes?
This is also more tomatoes, different varieties. Each plant is a little different.
What's the reason for so many tomatoes? I mean, I have it on like sometimes hamburgers, maybe some spaghetti sauce, but this seems like quite a bit. What are some of the things that you make with your tomatoes?
We make salsa, summer in a jar, which is tomatoes, squash, and zucchini, sometimes peppers. Put that all in a jar. We call it summer in a jar.
Thank you, Titus. Move on to this next row. If you see here, this is just booming with life and vegetation. Look at that lushness. What is going on over here?
Bill, obviously you don't know much about gardens because this is actually all weeds.
But it's so green.
That's because our garden is well fertilized, and so the weeds are growing very well. And the 2 volunteer potato plants that we missed last year digging up potatoes.
You've heard it first here, folks. Volunteer work is everywhere, even in gardens. All right, let's move on. What is over in this row? Is this weeds again?
No, this is flowers. There is some weeds in there. The reason for most of the weeds is we've had a lot of rain this last week, and it's just now getting dry enough that we can get in here to pull. So today we're going to do a lot of weeding, but this is actually several different varieties of flowers.
What are you going to do with the flowers? Are you going to put them in like a salad or something?
No, you don't eat flowers.
But it's in a garden.
Yes, but you still don't eat flowers. They bloom kind of like that flower.
I'm well aware of how flowers work,
And you
but
put them in a jar or give them to somebody special.
I see. Do you have somebody special?
No, I don't.
Not even your mother?
I do have my mother, but she already has them. They're her flowers.
What's over here? What is the need for so many rows of the same thing? This looks like potatoes again.
This is potatoes again, and we have a big family, so we eat a lot of potatoes through the winter. And so this is our potato part of the garden, and we harvest a lot of potatoes. We got 2 different kinds of potatoes here.
Okay. Let's go on to yonder garden. The touring association that I'm with is pretty top notch. As you've seen, not the best. There's no cement walkways, no fountain in the middle. I mean, this isn't that bad. You saw that one in downtown, significantly smaller. Their bean rows were like 4 feet long. Overall, it's fairly decent. Let's just give a walk by before Titus comes back. We have this. These look like more onions. Now, he was saying that this is where the majority of their onions are. It looks like some bags of other things. By the leaf, it looks like potatoes. I'm pretty sure this family is obsessed with potatoes. Here he is. Ah, Tristan. Good. Now,
Thomas.
Sorry. So sorry. So many interviews. Now, what is the point of having a garden over here when you have the garden over there?
This is our kitchen garden, is what we call it. There's 4 beds here, and it's right outside our kitchen, which is over there. So we put a lot of lettuce and stuff we use in our kitchen in these gardens, and these get the most attention because they're right outside the door. So we see them a lot, and they get, just a second.
Rookie mistake. He did not silence his phone. This is like filming 101. They asked me to come. I would assume they would prepare stuff and clear their day, but obviously that is not the case. I'm sorry. We will be back momentarily. We're back after that rude interruption, and we're talking about the kitchen garden.
Yeah.
What is the purpose of so many tomato plants? Why are these over here? We saw 4 whole big sections of tomato plants over there.
These are cherry tomatoes, so they're the little ones, Bill.
Oh, the ones that go in salads.
The ones that go in salads, or you just put them in your mouth whole and you pop.
Absolutely. They're like little bursts of sunshine, little bursts of juiciness that you bite into and just seeds go squirting, kind of like a bug, and you just squish it down and so delicious.
Do you like tomatoes?
I do like the occasional tomato. You have to be careful because sometimes you're like wearing a white shirt and you bite and it squirts on that white shirt, and then it's no good for the... Excuse me, I'm the star over here.
Let's continue. These are the other onions I was talking about. These are what we planted first. We filled this whole bed full of onions and realized we still have more onions to plant. So that's why there's onions over now.
Now, folks, if we look over here, there's some dead peas. It looks like. What's going on here? Is there like a bug or something that's taking these out?
No, these are actually done growing. We planted them real early, right when we first could plant stuff, and they're about done. We've harvested a lot. This is actually an overgrown pea pod right there, and there's still a couple. Come here. Let me show you this. Try one of these, Bill. Have you ever had a sugar snap pea?
That is good. I've had my fair share of peas, but that is good. Freshly plucked from the vine. Now, please tell me that's not more potatoes in those bags.
That is more potatoes in those bags.
What on earth are you going to do with this many potatoes?
We will put them in the cellar and eat them over the winter.
Are you going to eat all of them?
There's a good chance we will.
Okay, that's an insane amount of potatoes. What is the difference between the potatoes in the bag and the potatoes in the ground?
We did this as an experiment because we were planting potatoes and realized we had a lot more potatoes and not enough room.
I feel like that's a theme in your overall gardening.
Yeah, it is. So we're like, let's just try. We've seen people do it in like buckets, and we've seen some people do it in bags, and let's try to do it in bags.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's all the time we have today. It is time for me to go. This has been GGATA, the Great Gardens of America Touring Association. Tune in next week for a farm in California. Now I got a flight to catch, and since my driver's not here, I will be running.